coming up on today's show, Nintendo had a mini Direct type thing, a Nintendo Direct Mini, whatever they're calling it. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. That's all we're talking about this week. It's true. There's literally nothing else to talk about. What's good, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the What's Good Games podcast, your source for video game news, commentary, analysis, and funny stuff every Friday. I'm one of your hosts, Brittany Brombacher, alongside Andrea Renee.
What's good, Britt?
Hey, baby girl, and Rihanna Manuel Pena.
Oh, yes, the full name. I'm not hydrated at all today.
We were just having an extensive conversation about Ree's dehydration and her aversion to water, which we've talked about on the show a couple of times, but it is very hot. There is, in fact, a heat wave happening across many parts of the United States, and here in Los Angeles, it is still, I believe, 101 degrees outside in our neck of the woods. Let's see. Oh, no, it's dropped down to about 95.
That's like under boob sweat, ball sweat material.
Yes. And it's 7 o'clock at night still. So I feel like I'm in the desert, like in Arizona. I'm like, this is like desert weather. It's not supposed to be this hot this late.
We had a couple hot 91 degree days here in Washington, and now today it's 65. Like it just dropped 20 degrees. It's great.
Damn, sounds beautiful. 65 degrees. Just envision it. The cool breeze hitting your face. You take a big deep breath and you go, that feels nice.
Yeah. Right in your face.
And meanwhile, we're all like sweating everywhere, like so much sweat. Anyway, welcome to the show, everybody. We are glad that you are here. As Brittany mentioned, we're going to be talking about the Nintendo Direct because there was a bunch of news that dropped, and we're recording the show a little bit early this week, so I fully anticipate some other big breaking news to happen, but unfortunately we'll have to cover it in next week's episode. But I want to give a big shout out and thank you to this month's Patreon producers, Chewy's Godson, Alex Rigopulos, Faris Attieh, Justin Foshee, Matthew Goderre, and Punkdefied. And welcome to our Patreon community. Or should I say welcome back, Charles Vanek. By the way, of everybody who has taken the time to send us a message when you have left patreon.com/whatsgoodgames, we appreciate and see that you guys support us and just can't at the moment, and we totally get it. Times are tough right now, but know that you are welcome back at any moment, and if you don't have a couple bucks to come back, you can always leave us a 5-star review on the podcast platform of your choice, which these days really feels like mostly just Apple. Almost everybody be on Apple Podcasts these days.
Poor Apple. That company is just hurting. You know what I mean? They just have no money, no resources.
Struggling.
So I'm happy that our show can give them the coverage that they deserve. You know what I mean? Anyway, speaking of 5-star reviews, thank you, new reviewers. Great Wolves, Justin Valentine, and Skate Chris 90. Every week we get an email of our new podcast reviews, and I'll admit, I'm really giddy when I click on it, and it's like, what did people say about us this week? Makes me feel warm and fuzzy. Makes Andrea feel warm and fuzzy. Makes Ree feel warm and fuzzy. Who knows? Maybe if you leave a review saying, Ree, drink some effing water, maybe she'll actually drink some water and she won't come to the show dehydrated. I care about Ree so much, but she, like she said, she's going to start walking around looking like a husk because she has no fluid in her body.
Desiccated.
I do like that in Grey Wolves' review, they wrote, listen or go to HE, and then did the double hockey sticks emojis. And I was like,
classic.
Oh, that's clever. I like that. Very
We're
nice.
getting aggressive.
Low-key threat.
So thanks everybody for that. But how about we talk about some news? And I mentioned that today's show is brought to you by Athletic Greens, but I'll tell you a little bit more about that later on. As Brittany mentioned, it's now time for the Nintendo Direct Power Hour. Ding, ding, ding. Brittany, it looks like you pulled a handy little write-up from the fine folks over at IGN.com. And let me tell you, the very first story has me shook. I thought this day would never come, but lo and behold, Persona 5 has come to the Nintendo Switch.
Oh my freaking God. It is happening. I remember when we all were talking about how much we want Persona on the Switch, but we never thought it was going to come to be. We never thought it would manifest. I don't know what contract ink is now disregarded in the recycle bin. I don't know what happened, but whatever is gone and tits up and has expired, I am so thankful. This is where this series belongs, ladies, is on the Switch. And like I was saying last week or 2 weeks ago, I mean, let me get to the actual news itself. Persona 5 Royal is coming to the Switch alongside Persona 4 Golden and Persona 3 Portable. Persona 4 and 3 are coming later. Persona 5 is coming on October 21st. So, I mean, I don't know what else to say other than if you haven't played Persona yet, and it looks like your kind of game, you should absolutely play it. I think even though it's coming on Xbox, and I don't know, I think that's kind of the only other platform, I think Switch is definitely the one you should play it on. It's just lives at home, I feel like, on a portable device. I will say, since Persona 5 did come out on PS4 and PS3 back in the day, it's hard to believe, but it did. You know, obviously it's a great little like dock game, but when I play Persona 3 for the first time, which is my plan on the Switch, I'm definitely going to play it in the handheld mode. Steimer used to talk about playing games that way. Only certain games she wanted to play in handheld mode, and I never understood it, but now I get it. It's just one of those warm and fuzzy things. But yeah, anyway, it's coming, and I'm just so happy.
Yeah.
Yay!
Hopefully everybody can live out their high school Japanese fantasies. Persona.
That's
It's just one of those franchises that I've never connected with.
Yeah, I don't think you would like it very much.
It's not for
really.
me. And that's okay.
That's okay. Yeah, it's
I'm
fine.
happy
Ree, what
that
about you?
other people are happy about it.
Ree,
That's fair.
is your shtick, my little dehydrated lovely husk?
You know what? I feel like Persona would give me the thirst quenching that I need. I am excited to try it on the Switch. I've never played Persona 5, but I watched other people play. And the music is good. And there are several bops. Like, Never See It Coming is absolutely on my playlist. So, yeah, I'm going to try it. I think it would actually fit with what I'm into these days, which is lots of rest and relaxation. So, handheld mode is absolutely a draw for me.
Yeah, just set aside 100+ hours, baby girl.
Yeah, just sit in the bath, you know?
Oh,
Rock
turn
out.
into a wrinkled prune? Yeah.
Yes.
The
Just
best.
rehydrate.
Dehydrate.
She turns into like a Rihanna like raisin during the day and then just like gets back to the plump grape after she's put in a solid 15 hours in the bathtub with Persona every night.
It actually sounds like heaven. So,
That's
yeah,
right.
probably.
To have 15 dedicated hours per day to just play a video game in a bathtub, no
Oh.
less.
Amazing.
Someday we'll maybe have that again. No, probably not. Probably
Oh,
never.
God, no.
Yeah.
Fuck no. Not going to
18
kid
years?
myself.
Yeah, maybe in our dreams. All right, continuing on. There was a bunch of other news in this partner mini. I like how they called it a mini direct when there was actually quite a bit of news that happened in this direct today. I wasn't a little disappointed it happened so early in the morning, so I didn't watch it live. But I'm not going to run down everything that happened. I'm just going to like pick out a couple things. One of the things that I was excited to see, even though I think we already knew that it was coming, was the Portal Companion Collection is out on Switch right now. So
Yeah.
I feel like I stump for Portal all the time, but if you've never played Portal or Portal 2, just some of the best games literally ever made. Like when I talk about perfection and masterclass in video game development, Portal is like right up there, Portal 2 as well. Portal 2 is probably actually my preferred game of the two, but both great and not to be overlooked. If you've never played, now is the time.
I'm actually going to recommend this one to my mom. She's been playing the Switch that we got her very often, like every single day. And
Ooh,
she's really good
okay.
at puzzle games. So I'm going to see if she's into Portal.
It's
Did
so
you-
funny. Like I really
is.
hope she likes it.
Did you see the announcement during the Direct Mini of this actual? So it was, is it Gladys?
GLaDOS, yeah.
Gladys. I always want to say like GLaDOS, but Gladio, but that's Final Fantasy 15. Big
I
hunk
say
of meat.
GLaDOS. I mean, you could say Gladys if you want. I don't think it really
GLaDOS?
matters.
The funny robot, Gladdy Daddy. Anyway, she said, I wanted to call it the Why Do You Keep Killing Me collection, but oh well, let's get started, you monster, is what she came in on. And it's just so, and I laughed, and I just, oh, you're right. Like, there's just not a game like Portal 2 out there, except for Portal 2. And it just is such a funny game. And I don't know, just kudos to Portal. You're great.
Yeah.
Make Portal 3, you cowards. Just do it.
Just do it. I have some stuff highlighted here that I want to talk about, but Ree, is there anything here that tickles your fancy before I start gushing over another farming game?
I'm scrolling through. I'm curious about Monkey Island. So I love games with this style, with this type of humor, with, of course, point and click and the actual puzzling. But I've never actually played Monkey Island. I've only seen some gameplay of it here and there. So I feel like, again, when things come to the Switch, it's almost like my backlog speaking to me. Like, okay, it's time. ET's time. Now is when you should get into it. And I'm really looking forward to it. And because I've only seen a little bit of it and it's not in recent memory since I haven't played through the entire game, I feel like it's going to be a really fun new experience for me. Unlike a lot of folks who maybe have played through and this will be a replaying. But even so, I'm excited to hear people talking about it, and maybe there'll be some more guides when I get stuck inevitably that are up to date and fresh in for 2022. So yeah, I'm really excited for that one.
This is one of those games where, as honored as I would be to get a review code, I don't think it would be a very good idea, because the problem is when you get these pre-release copies and most times you don't get a guide sent your way, and the PR people can be very helpful, but if you get stuck, your best bet is just to mass DM people on Twitter and hope for the best that someone else has this game, or you're just kind of up shit creek without a paddle. I've tried to review some adventure games and point and click games in my day, and it usually doesn't end well for me, which is why I wish we had one Christine Steimer still here to talk about it.
No, when the game comes out, I'm absolutely going to message Steimer and say, can you cool on into the show? Because she said that she would cool on to the show every time.
That's true. Yeah.
From time to time, and be like, this is the time we need you to come and give us your review or your air quotes impressions of this game. Because, we got to get time back for Monkey Island.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
She'll absolutely crush these puzzles. She flies through these things it's not even a challenge for her.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Exactly.
Only wish.
All right, Britt, you're up.
Okay, what farming game should I talk about first? Let's
so
talk.
Many to choose from.
Oh, it was a good day in Britland, ladies and gentlemen. Let's talk about Harvestella. Harvestella. That's a very, very cute little play on words there. Okay, so this is a new farming game from Square Enix. Definitely did not see this one coming, because who would have thought Square Enix is working on a farming game? Not I, but here we are, and this is the reality we live in, so let's roll with it. So here's from the press release. So players will experience a beautiful world that changes with the flow of the seasons and enjoy a variety of gameplay, including tending to crops, befriending townspeople, and adventuring into challenging dungeons. So in this world, there are 4 giant crystals that are called Seaslight, and they create a stable change between the 4 seasons. But of course, shit goes wrong, abnormalities start happening, and then this creates the Quietus, I think is how you pronounce it, which is a season of death that takes place between the naturally occurring 4 seasons. And during this season, the crops die, people won't come out of their houses, and these death seasons, geez Louise, are becoming longer and longer each year.
So it's winter in Seattle.
Exactly. It takes place in Seattle. And in the game, yeah, so you'll grow, you'll tend to crops, you use the ingredients to cook and give yourself some buffs. And there's different towns and townsfolk, and you can change your class. You can be a fighter, a shadow walker, or a mage, and you can have a party of people. And each crystal that I was talking about earlier has, because of course there's a crystal, it's a Square game, has a town, and you have to traverse these paths to get to the crystals and probably save them. Anyway, I think this is just really cool. I haven't been talking about it on the show, but I've been playing an ass ton of Rune Factory 5, which is obviously a take on the farming genre. And this is absolutely one of my favorite chicken soup for the souls type of games to play. And so I love that people are getting more innovative with it, and I'm really curious to see how Square's take on this genre turns out. The one thing I'm slightly disappointed of is there's been no mention of marriage or banging. Not that I expect banging to be in the official press release, but generally, forging relationships with townsfolk and building those comes along with some sort of romance. So, I kind of hope that that's in there, but, it's not a deal breaker by any means. But it looks really pretty. Yeah, we'll see. I'm excited. I want to grow some turnips, ladies.
This seems like a Brit ass game.
Oh my god. Dude, you have no idea. Probably one of my favorite announcements, other than, well, there's two more that I'm really excited about. But
Go on.
oh, okay, I'll keep going. Let's go. All right, the next one I got all hot and bothered over. Oh, that's probably not. Okay, hot and bothered isn't a good way to put it because this is definitely not a hot and bothered game, but Blanc. So, Blanc, this is a game coming from Gearbox Publishing, and I think Cases Ludi is how you pronounce it. But this is an artistic cooperative adventure game, and it's this really beautiful black and white, hand-drawn aesthetic. And oh, it's so cute. Oh my god. Anyway, it features a stranded wolf cub and a fawn as they, quote, overcome the odds to find their families. Adults and children alike will enjoy the heartwarming story when it launches in February 2023 on Switch and PC. So as we're looking on YouTube right now, you have this beautiful black and white world that's hand-drawn. And it says it has a soothing soundscape that supports the game's text-free gameplay and storytelling. So there's absolutely no text in this game at all, which is something like fun and different. Like, I'm down for that.
It's great for localization.
Yeah.
If you don't have any.
There you go.
Also accessibility.
There you go. And each animal has its own strengths and weaknesses and can do certain things, especially when it comes to the puzzle element, I assume. But I think there's only 2 buttons that I read in movement. So you can move and you have 2 buttons that you press. So it's not like it's going to be a very complicated game to handle. And it supports local and online co-op. And the founder says this about the game. With Blanc, we want to create a meaningful experience without antagonism based on mutual aid and empathy for everyone to enjoy no matter their skill level. And it focuses on the journey and experience while tugging at the hearts of players. So I just hope
cuddling in the trailer.
I know. I just hope the wolf cub doesn't eat the deer.
What?
I mean, I don't know.
That's fair. The wolf would grow up to eat the deer. That's how that would usually work.
Yeah. You
But
know,
they're
like you want to tug on my heartstrings. Like, so, you know what's probably going to, it's going to be fucking Bambi all over again. You know what I mean? The wolf is going to be like, oh, my friends ate your mom. I'm sorry. Cool. I'm going to, like, take you wherever you need to go. I don't know. Oh, actually, the wolf is really small. So, yeah, probably not.
For now.
For now, but you know some shit's going to go down. But either way, it's something different. And right now, in my games, I'm really just kind of craving innovation. And I think that's why this is really speaking to me. So
Yeah, this looks very, very original and unique. I'm excited for this one.
Yeah.
I think the last time I was really pulled in by a game that had no dialogue that I thought was obviously a work of art was Journey.
Mm-hmm.
And I know there's obviously been other games since then because that game is, you know, quite a few years old at this point. But this looks interesting. I'm excited to see how this is going to come together.
Yeah. You want me to go next again?
Obviously.
Sweet. Okay. The next one I want to talk about. RPG time. The Legend of Right.
Ooh.
So this is coming to Switch, PlayStation, Xbox, and Steam on August 18th from publisher Aniplex and developer Deskworks. So this is, when Andrea pulls the footage up, you'll see, is a handmade notebook adventure that offers a one-of-a-kind gaming experience that is the culmination of 16 years of conception and 10 years of development.
Wow.
So,
hold on.
yeah,
16 years?
Of conception and 10
Too many
years
years
of development.
Too many.
So many years. And if you go on their website, I mean, they have awards dating, I feel like, all the way back to 2007 from when they've been showing this game off. Anyway, it looks like, in any case, it's almost ready to come out. So clearly, like, it's you know, they're making progress, which is wonderful. But the idea is this. The hero makes a brief stop at so the story is told through comic strips, panels, and animation that are all hand-drawn, and it takes place in the land of Cardboardia, which I think is just like, haha, cute play on words. But I think the idea is that, you know, after school is out, everyone gathers around, oh God, what's his name? I don't have it on here. Kenta is his name. They gather around Kenta's notebook, and you essentially, like, go through this hand-drawn RPG experience. And in the trailer, you get to see someone erasing some stuff or drawing some stuff in. I don't think it's something like Scribblenauts, if anyone remembers that, where you actually, like, got to say what you wanted to happen. I think it's just probably, you know, it's just like, that's your option. But because if you look on the right, you have a pencil, you have an eraser, you have, like, a party menu. So, I don't know, it just looks like something different. And I love these sorts of, like I said, I'm craving innovation right now. And like there's a tavern at one point, and you have to peel the sticky note of the tavern back to, like, air quote, go inside and explore it. I don't know. It just kind of reminds me of, like, childhood fun times. Also,
It looks cute.
I may or may not have done something similar with this with Ocarina of Time when I was in the 5th grade. So,
is there evidence of this somewhere?
probably, and actually, yeah, in a notebook. So when I was pregnant with Jace, we had to clear out our entire garage, and my mom was one of those moms that kept everything. And I, of course, got distracted and went through every single notebook that I found. And turns out I wrote a lot about video games in my youth. Yeah, and I found it. I actually did. I found the notebook. We were coming back from Camp Sispis, which was like the trip every 5th grader made back in the day. And on the way back, my friend and I got bored on the bus because we didn't have cell phones back in those days, ladies and gentlemen. We didn't have tablets back in those days. You had a book or you had like a notepad. And I remember writing out the Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time Deku Tree in there. And I would like do like a rough sketch. I'd be like, okay, which door do you want to go through? She would go through a door and be like, oh, there's the map. You found the map. And then I would like draw out more parts of the dungeon. Anyway, yeah, that was fun.
I feel like we need to find this and have a dramatic reading. Is that something that we can
I gotta
do?
try. I'll try to find it at some point. It's in one of the bins in the garage now. But yeah.
So there's one last thing I want to mention, unless you have other things you want to chat about. Well, technically there's 2 things, but one of them I was going to say for hands-on. But so this is my obligatory. Feels like almost every show. My husband works for Disney, in case you forgot. My husband works for Disney, but I've been obviously interested in Disney Dreamlight Valley because it's being pitched as like Animal Crossing, but Disney. And so that like piques my Venn diagram overlap of Animal Crossing and Disney because Avi like them both a lot. And they had a little bit more to show in the Direct today. So in case you guys haven't seen this, of course, being developed by Gameloft, as we see here. And when they first revealed this game, I was like, this seems like too good to be true. But the more that I see of this game, the more I read about it, the more I'm like, is this really everything I hope and dream it could potentially become? And so I'm very excited to play this game, to test it out, and to see exactly, oh, we got Maui here. Is it because I'm watching Moana like every day because my dad loves Moana? Maybe. Who could say? There's Olaf. I mean, her favorites right now are like Frozen, Moana, and Kanto and Coco. So, you know, you throw those characters in anything and I'll probably buy it. But I'm excited that they're going to have early access in just a couple of months. In September is what they revealed. September 6th is when early access is happening. I'm actually very glad that they're doing an early access period because I think a game like this could absolutely benefit from a little bit of community bug testing. So it'll be interesting to see kind of how that goes. But I mean, please be good, Gameloft. Please be good.
Yeah, and I'm really curious when they do the early access how the free-to-play stuff plays out. And I know we've talked about this before, but you know, it's that knee-jerk reaction if you see free-to-play, you're like, oh, it's going to be icky. But maybe it won't be. So we'll see. I absolutely agree with you. Free-to-play is the way to go. I'm also very excited for this one. And usually, like, Disney things, not that I don't like Disney, but anything that's kind of tied into, like, a huge IP, I tend to just kind of automatically be turned off from it. Don't know why. That's why I never got into Kingdom Hearts back in the day. I was like, it's the Disney characters.
Because there's a bunch of shitty licensed games out there. I'm just gonna say it.
Fair.
There's a bunch of really, really bad ones. There's a couple cherry-picked good ones, but most of them are bad because it's some person in a suit and a tie in a boardroom being like, people want a video game about this thing, and we're going to rush a video game to make it launch when the movie launches. And then the video game developers are like, hey, Bob, listen, like, that's just not enough time for us to make a quality game. And then Bob goes, I don't care, Steve. I've got numbers to meet. So make it happen and shut the fuck up. And then they pump out a piece of mediocre garbage that people are like, this is mediocre garbage, but it satisfies some contractual obligation to put out X amount of games in X amount of years. And now I've gone down a ranty rabbit hole about how IP games are usually terrible, but we're hoping for the best with this one.
It sounded like you were talking about Pokemon there for a minute. But hey.
Am I thinking specifically about some bad Transformer and Spider-Man games? Maybe. But, you know.
They can't all be Aladdin.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. It's true. It's true.
Bob in a suit. Fuck you, sir.
You know what? Listen to Steve.
fault, Bob.
Okay, Bob.
Bob
Steve
and
needs
Susan.
more budget and more months to get it done, Bob.
I like how we have these reoccurring characters in our podcast. We now have Bob in a suit. We have Susan from last week, who I feel like is just a really like obnoxious consumer. I can't remember. And now we have Steve, who is the good-hearted developer who just wants to do right by the fans. Those are three people.
Steve is a Disney fanboy who wants to make his Disney video game development dreams come true. So Bob in the suit just needs, and I'm not speaking specifically about Bob Chapek, even though he is the head of Disney, because I doubt Bob Chapek is actually in any of those conversations. But just generic guy in suit Bob.
Just listen to Steve.
Sorry to all those Bobs out there. I'm sure there's some good Bobs. My Uncle Bob is one of them.
Oh, God.
Anywho.
Bob Iger? Who could say?
Yeah. Fingers crossed that, it's going to be fun and good and not egregiously full of dumb microtransactions.
Yeah, that's a good point. Let's see. What else? Is Pac-Man World, was that the one? Oh, you have one? Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, no. I was going to mention... So at Summer Game Fest Playdays, Rihanna and I got time to play Sonic Frontiers, which we talked about.
Oh, yeah.
2 weeks ago when Emily was on the show. But remember we said, oh, there's a part of the game we can't talk about yet? Turns out they showed it in the Nintendo Direct, so we can talk about it, but we can either talk about it now or we can kick that can down the road to the hands-on segment.
Let's save it for hands-on. I have thoughts.
I was watching the Sonic Frontiers footage, and after listening to what you had to say about it, then, and I'm looking at the world, and I'm taking a bigger look at it, and I'm like, yeah, like I can kind of get that vibe. I mean, I'm excited to hear more about it because it sounds like you have a different area you can talk about now. But yeah, like at first I was all like, ask Andrea. I was like, ooh, this looks good. Ooh, and now I'm kind of like, I've kind of cooled on it. Just a little bit.
Oh, well,
we'll see.
We don't ever want to like cool your excitement on something. I think
it's not just
Well, yeah, obviously it's not just us. Like, there's plenty of other people that played it. In fact, there was many people at the event that played it. So please, check lots of coverage. But it just, I think we went in with, hopeful expectations, and we came out going like, this game needs some more work. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with the game. Playing a demo and realizing, hey, this just needs a little bit more time to sit in the cooker.
Marinade.
Yeah, Steve's over there waving his flag at Sega, being like, I need more time.
Steve's the one sending Bob all of the podcast notes, like, see?
Let's see. I think one more farming game I can talk about, ladies, because why the fuck not? It's my time to shine here. All right, let's talk about Doraemon, Story of Seasons, Friends of the Great Kingdom. I gotta be honest, why this game's being made, I couldn't tell you, but it's a thing that's happening. So in 2019, we got, I think Doraemon is how you pronounce it, which is an incredibly popular manga in Japan. And I think read there's like 1,800 episodes of the anime that are out. Like, it's a lot. But wow. I digress. So I played this back in the day. So it's Doraemon and Story of the Seasons crossover. And what I do remember is that I played this on my flight to Fjargo, back when we all went to Nordic.
Do you remember when we went there?
Aww. Yes.
It was so much fun.
Oh, I remember because, well, obviously it was a really fun time, but also Reb was getting a little surgery that day, and I was like freaking out on the airplane, but then I had this game to play, and it really helped soothe me. And I do think I'm always going to be thankful to it for that, but I think I just kind of burned out on it. Not really a fan of the Doraemon stuff, and so it was kind of a weird foreign concept to me to try to like pretend to care about all these characters. And also, like, when I play these sorts of games, I want to be able to be myself and play as myself, and you can't bang people in that game because, like, you're all kids and a weird robotic cat. It wouldn't make sense, and it would be very illegal and weird. But what's interesting about what they're doing with this game is that they're adding co-op to it, local co-op, which is kind of interesting. So with co-op, you'll be able to raise a farm between the two people, and you can also use like weird gadgets together, whatever. I'd be really curious to know how this game sold. I should look into that. If I was good at my job, I would have done that before the show started. But like, this really surprised me. At first, I'm like, is this just an HD port? But no, it's a full-fledged sequel. So cool. I mean, we have Rune Factory 5, we have Story of Seasons, we have this other game coming out, Harvestella, whatever the hell. And I am just living my here we go. Like, it looks really cute, right? Like, hey, look at it. Like, it's an adorable little art, but you're this little boy, and it's just, I don't know. It just doesn't really do it for me that much. But that's okay. I got other farming games to play and look forward to. So maybe someone out there is very excited about this. And if so, I'm happy for you. My soul is lit aflame with joy at your happiness.
Oh, so poetic.
Andrea doesn't buy it. She laughs at me.
I mean, you could have sold me just a little bit more.
If you are happy that this game is coming into existence, I am so thrilled for you. Like, literally every single night before I go to bed, I'm going to say a prayer to the many gods above us and say, dear gods above us, please bestow all of your blessings upon those that are so excited for Doraemon and whatever the fuck this game is called. And I hope that they...
Doraemon, whatever the fuck this game.
It's a lot of words.
It's so many words. Story of Seasons, Friends of the Great Kingdom. What the fuck? Bob named that one. Jeez
Oh
There's
my
a lot of
goodness.
words in a row.
I love you, Brittany. You're my favorite. Oh my goodness. Okay, well, that's it for our coverage of the Nintendo Mini Direct that happened this week. We have just a couple in case you missed it, so let's get to those. But before we do that, I want to let you know that this podcast is brought to you by Athletic Greens. Our next partner, as I mentioned, is Athletic Greens. So if you guys missed the podcast where we first introduced them, Athletic Greens is a wellness company that makes a supplement that's going to improve your life every day that you take it. Now, if you guys aren't familiar, if you haven't heard them on a bunch of other podcasts, I personally have heard them a lot on Pod Save America, one of my favorite podcasts out there. It's why when they approached us at What's Good Games, I was like, oh my gosh, I've been waiting to try Athletic Greens. They seem like the cool kids thing to do. And let me tell you, I've started using it and it makes me feel like I have a dedicated time to hydrate every day. Now, I know we were, joking around with Rihanna about hydration, but what's great about Athletic Greens, in addition to all of the vitamins and minerals that it helps you get into your system, is that it reminds you drinking water is important. And when you wake up in the morning, you just take your scoop of Athletic Greens, put it in your 8 to 12 ounces of water, chug that bad boy, and boom, you're starting your day out with some hydration power. So what is this stuff, you may be wondering? What the heck is Athletic Greens? Well, with one scoop of AG1, you're absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens to help you start your day right. This special blend of ingredients supports your gut health, your nervous system, your immune system, your energy, recovery, focus, and even aging. All of the things, you guys. It supports them all. And the reason why I like taking AG1 is because as a busy mom, it's just hard for me to remember to feed myself the fruits and vegetables I need every day because I'm too busy cutting them up into tiny cubes for my baby to eat. And then I forget to eat them myself and enter in my need for a supplement every single day. And if you guys didn't know, Athletic Greens is a climate neutral certified company, so you can feel good about using their product. In 2020, AG purchased carbon credits that support projects to protect old growth rainforests. And for every purchase, they donate to organizations helping to get nutritious food to kids in need, including No Kid Hungry here in the United States. In fact, in 2020 alone, AG donated over 1.2 million meals to kids. That is fantastic. Plus, if you are worried about your special diet or nutritional needs, it's lifestyle friendly, whether you eat keto, paleo, vegan, dairy-free, or gluten-free, and it contains less than 1 gram of sugar, no GMOs, no nasty chemicals or artificial anything, while still tasting good. And it supports better sleep quality and recovery, something that I desperately need. So, it's time to claim, or should I say reclaim, your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. Just 1 scoop in a cup of water every day. That's it. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. Just take it easy. Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/what'sgood. Again, that's athleticgreens.com/what'sgood to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. As Brittany mentioned a little bit earlier, Niantic is in the news because they're making a real-world NBA game. And it's called NBA All World. I know, very original.
Bob named that one too.
To me, that signals that they're working closely with the NBA and it's a trademarked / licensed game. And it's always interesting when somebody, air quotes, gets into bed with the sports people because it's either going to be something really cool or it's going to be something very gimmicky. And knowing that Niantic has been actually doing some really interesting, great games over the last couple of years in particular, I'm curious to see how this is going to do. Do you think that the mainstream consumer who plays sports games is going to be interested in a Niantic type mobile or AR experience?
No.
No, I don't.
No.
No.
I mean, I think it's, yeah, if you look at how it's described, okay, they're trying to turn the real world into a basketball theme park. Places and objects in the real world will become video game items. The convenience store has become a location to pick up stamina for your NBA player. The sporting goods store around the corner is the place to pick up the latest brand name shoe to customize your players. So it says there's swiped-based one-on-one basketball where you go up against other players at basketball courts on your map, kind of like a gym in Pokemon Go. There's a leaderboard, and you can collect real-world NBA players by encountering and beating them on the map. Sounds like the Ultimate Team feature in FIFA, according to The Verge, and you can customize them with gear and in-game boosts. Niantic also says the game will have some sort of location-based storytelling element, and it's coming out next NBA season. I mean, like, cool. Like, you know, obviously this is for some people, an audience, but I think the part where you kind of start losing folks is, like, you have to get up and move around. It's an AR game, right?
Yeah. Like if you look at the white space between sports fans, real life sports fans, not sports game fans, and AR game players, there is obviously going to be some crossover. But ultimately, people who are fans of NBA and fans of NBA players are fans of watching them. Like, they don't necessarily engage with ancillary content, and maybe there's, like, you know, some TMZ that they'll follow or something like that, like sensationalist news. But aside from that, there's really not a lot of opportunities to engage with NBA stars. And so this doesn't feel as natural or as organic of a fit simply because they're not out in the world the way that some stars of other types of games are. Like, I'm sure there's people who are excited for this, but people who are really into AR games or people who would be interested in clicking into one if they were served an ad, I don't think it's the exact same audience as people who love watching basketball games. And it's going to be a tough sell to really show you the value of engaging with this if you are an NBA fan. Like if I really enjoy watching basketball, why do I want to stop watching basketball to do something else on my phone? That's going to be the key here to really sell this home.
Mm-hmm. No, that's fair. I think that you hit the nail on the head there.
I'm curious to see what this marketing is going to look like.
Me too.
Yeah. From the makers of Pokemon Go, catch Michael Jordan. I don't know. In the wild.
Also, I'm really bad at throwing the Pokeballs, so, like, actually making the hoops, I'm probably going to suck at it. So
yeah, it's probably the same mechanic, though, where you have to, like, flick it, and it goes over. I wonder, how do you catch the players? You have to beat. Oh, okay. You don't actually catch them. Okay, you find them on the map. You encounter and beat them on a basketball. Okay, yeah, you
gotta catch all the players.
You can imagine just like throw basketballs at their head.
Just give them concussions and then take them while they're passed out.
Yeah, you will live in this Pokeball now, sir. Oh man.
I think that game is the game that people actually want, though. So if Niantic could make that happen, that would be that'd be great. That'd be great. I know we didn't include it in the show notes, but I want to just quickly mention because we haven't really talked a lot about this game recently that we got a new trailer for Gotham Knights, which is coming out later this year. And in case you missed it, it's all about Robin. And they kind of give us a more detailed look at the crime fighter and kind of how he's going to, you know, interact with some of the other characters in the game. And it's interesting because obviously, you know, you think Robin, you immediately think Batman, right? And there's, as far as we know, Batman's not in this game. I'm assuming he'll probably make some kind of a cameo, but the whole idea is that it's all of these other cool characters that exist in this Gotham universe. But I'm interested to kind of see how people are going to, pick and choose which characters that they're going to play as. And I want to be hyped and pumped for this game because I really do love this style of gameplay, and I think this kind of brawler, combo-heavy mechanics that this studio is known for. WME Montreal. I'm interested and pumped to play this. I think I just need to get some hands-on time with it.
Yeah. I think that's kind of where I'm at too. I just need to play it. I need to see how it feels in my hands. Again, Gotham Knights, that title alone, it doesn't really do it. It doesn't do it enough for me. Like Shania Twain said, that don't impress me much. I mean, it does. It's a cool concept. But yeah, for me, it kind of comes down to gameplay and the co-op aspect of it. And what does it feel like? Because, I don't really care if it's just Gotham Knights. It's just not,
You need the feels.
I need the feels. If this was like all the husbandos in Dragon Age Knights, I'd be like, okay, you got me. Like, let's go. I will do all of the things, all of the moves for you. But it's not. But, yeah.
More
this
capes,
is what Batman's
apparently.
dead, right? More capes, yeah. Batman's worm fodder in this one, right? This is the one.
Yes, she says very hesitantly, not actually knowing where in the canon this game falls. But
it's fine.
Is it canon?
yes,
Is the game canon?
I mean, at least it's canon with the other video games, yeah.
Okay.
Listen, the DC universe, when it comes to Gotham and Batman and his whole universe, is way too big for me to follow as far as like where in the canon of the comic books and obviously the movies and the TV series and everything that it lies. I don't know, but I think it's canon with the other video games that WB has made,
Okay.
as far as I'm
Yeah,
aware.
I'm interested. I need to know if it's fun to play alone. That's kind of where I'm at with it, because I guarantee I'm not going to be able to get 3 other people to coordinate with me for this one.
Yeah. Well, did
So,
you play the other
yeah.
Batman games from Warner Brothers?
Yeah, I've played a bit here and there, not enough to really like say I'm a true fan, but I mean, I enjoy the way they feel. I just need to know that I care about the story.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah. Unless I'm, fucking around with my friends, then I don't need any story.
Exactly. Speaking of fucking around with your friends, Gamescom 2020, you and 200,000 of your closest friends is fucking around in a conference hall playing video games. Hopefully not getting COVID. Anyway,
What a sales pitch.
we talked about Gamescom a little bit last week, saying that PlayStation had announced that they were not going to Gamescom. But this week, Ubisoft has said it will be going to Gamescom. Just on the kind of heels of a lot of other people saying, we're actually deciding to not go. Other people, including PlayStation, as I mentioned, Nintendo, Activision Blizzard, and Take-Two, all not attending Gamescom 2022. But Ubisoft is like, we'll be there.
I'm sorry.
I don't know why that's so funny. They are a European company. I mean, they're a global company that has a large presence in Europe. But I think the reason why it's interesting is because we haven't heard anything from them about a Ubisoft Forward event. So maybe they're going to be planning something around Gamescom or leading up to Gamescom to be like, hey, we've got some games we'd like to show you and talk about them, because they haven't done that yet this summer.
Bones.
I'd like to see them.
I'm trying to see who else is confirmed to be attending. Ubisoft will be joining the likes of Embracer Group. Okay, like 500 other studios. And
Embracer Group
Bandai
is
Namco.
giant, yes.
Yeah. And Bandai Namco will be there. Cool.
No.
All right. It'll be a little intimate setting.
Yeah, they're just going to have a giant Elden Ring sign, and it'll be the most popular booth at Gamescom. They're like, oh, no, there's no DLC. You can just come and play Elden Ring that you can buy, and you can buy Elden Ring.
They'll make like
be
a giant hot tub full of made like that pot guy.
Oh,
Just sit in it.
yeah.
That feels like more of a TGS kind of vibe. But maybe they'll have like the 2 fingers. Can you imagine you go to the booth, it's just the 2 fingers like over you? That'd be pretty funny, actually.
That would be
Do it, Bandai. Do it. I dare you. They obviously have other stuff coming out too. Like what Brawls, which we talked about a couple weeks ago. Anywho, that is going to do it for the news for this week. Normally, this is where we would take like an official proper break and say, when we come back, but we're just going to roll right into hands-on because it's just that kind of a week, everybody. And as we mentioned during the news segment, just to kind of tie it together, Rihanna and I got hands-on with Sonic Frontiers, and there was a part of the game called the Cyber Worlds, in air quotes, that we got to play that we weren't allowed to talk about until the reveal that happened in the Nintendo Direct earlier this week. And when we left the demo, even though we weren't, super pumped and excited about the other parts that we played, we were like, the Cyber World stuff was fun and cool. It made us really kind of feel like that is the Sonic that we know and remember and really love. And the music was great. And we're just going to talk briefly about that. And I'm going to pull up some B-roll that I have here. But Reed, that was the part of the demo that resonated the most with you, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. So these cyber worlds are, different places that you'll enter into via portals in Sonic Frontiers. So very different from the sort of near photorealistic open world landscapes that you've seen in previous gameplay, which we've talked about, and that you see in lots of the promotional material where Sonic is just sort of like exploring this sort of open, grassy, mountainous area. When you run into when you enter the portals into one of the cyber worlds, you actually enter into a classic looking 3D Sonic level. And these worlds definitely, as you said, Andrea, harken back to the Sonic that I was expecting, at least to have a little bit more of a touch point for. And it absolutely delivers. So these parts of the game were my favorite of our playthrough experience. They're positioned as though they're, challenge levels. So they're highly replayable. You can enter into them, try to collect different hard to reach tokens or rings that become the collectibles in these different worlds. And obviously you can go for speed runs, try to beat your own personal time, beat your friend's time, things like that. And there are a few enemies there in these cyber worlds that you'll bop them on the head, but it's mainly just the speed run courses,
right?
And that was the look that was the feeling I was looking for, and I really enjoyed those levels. They definitely have a different visual style. They look a lot more like Sonic 3D. And they're short. At least the bit that we played was a little bit shorter and surprisingly challenging. I don't know about you, Andrea, but I know I fell a couple of times into the abyss and actually had to start over.
I mean, I think that's what really reminded me of classic Sonic, this idea of, you fail or you lose your rings. You're like, gotta just start over. There's no finishing the level without having a good or perfect run. And I think a lot of hardcore Sonic fans are going to be looking for that kind of experience. So I'm glad that they've included it. It's interesting the way that they've kind of pulled it out from the main exploration. And also the very stark contrast difference between the music in each of the areas I thought was really interesting. And obviously we only saw a small sliver of the game when we were at the event, but what I saw in the cyber worlds actually is what has me excited about going back to actually play this game. Because let me tell you, if it was only the exploration and the open world, no thanks.
Yeah.
I'm good. And I do.
So does it?
Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, I was just gonna ask. Does it feel more like, now that you talk about this, I have a question. So does it feel more like the open world is just there to kind of run around and explore, but the real meat potatoes are in these little other little subworlds?
No, it feels like the subworlds are a way to grind for rings in order to, I guess there's got to be some kind of upgrade path, right?
Yeah, we didn't really see where the rings become useful aside from, collecting the hard to reach ones that are special. I think they're red, different color.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Sega wasn't doing any developer interviews, at least when we asked them. And I said, hey, I have questions about what we played today. Is there somebody I can talk to? And they're like, we're not doing interviews at this time. And I was like, oh, okay, well. I guess I'll just keep my questions for some other time. And it was a bit of a bummer because I would have liked to know a little bit more about how Sonic's combat is going to change. What is the progression look like? What does the exploration look like? What are the benefits of exploring? Are you going to get a substantial weapon or token or something? Are there hidden worlds that you can find? Because the access to these cyber worlds that we kind of saw were really obvious. It's you get this giant obelisk chair thing that you see out in the middle of the world, and it's a pretty easy minimal puzzle to unlock it. And then once you stand on it or whatever, it like teleports you into this other world. And then as Rihanna mentioned, there's this replayability factor for it. But I think the thing that I just kept going back to was like, but why isn't that the game? And I think what it comes back to, and again, this is us only operating on what we saw. And I think it comes down to them trying something different. And I applaud the developers for saying, hey, we want to take this really classic beloved character with a tried and true formula and do something different with him. And right now, from what we've seen, it just doesn't feel like it's resonating or hitting or clicking. But hopefully they lock it all in, as development progresses.
Yeah, I also bumped up against a little bit of pacing, and that sounds weird to say in a preview and a hands-on, because I know it's obviously not the final product, so this may be completely irrelevant once people have this retail copy in hand.
Yeah.
However, the way they introduced Sonic, traversal, the move sets was very overwhelming, and I almost prefer if they would have had us in this classic world and then at the end we bust out and then we see the wide open spaces of the open world, so then we can translate all of the movesets that a lot of people are familiar with into traversal in this new, frontier land. And again, we don't know what the final product will look like. It's very possible that the entire introduction of the character in the game and its mechanics will be completely different from what Andrea and I played, and lots of other folks who have played this as well. But it was very much two different games next to each other, as opposed to, hey, here's this thing that you loved and that feels familiar and you're excited to get back into in this new updated way, and how it translates to an open world format that you see in other franchises that we're branching into as a new experimentation for this character and this IP. So I'm just kind of like still wait and see, honestly, at this point, because I loved the movement, but I need to understand why we're here still.
That's what I was just going to ask you. I don't know if you ladies have played enough to answer this, but what do you do in the open world? Because I'm watching these other little areas, like, God, that looks fun, that looks fun, and then you're in the open world, and it's like, what's the point?
I honestly don't have an answer for you. I wish that I had an answer. We left the demo with a lot of questions. Like I said, we didn't get a chance to talk to anybody because they didn't have somebody there to answer those questions. And I hope that they show some more details, because right now I'm like, so what and who cares? And I don't want that, right? Because it's such a, it's Sonic. Like, I want to be able to play it and have a great time, especially since Sonic Mania, like this revival, like of the franchise, did such a great job. And now they're clearly trying to ride that enthusiasm for this franchise back to some of the more 3D focused Sonic fans instead of the classic 2D stuff, and I don't know if they're gonna get there. I hope they do. Fingers crossed.
Me too.
But definitely need to see more.
Yeah.
There's some storytelling that should happen before we know why we're invested, and I think we just haven't seen it yet.
Yes, indeed. But Britt, you have played some things.
I have been playing some things. I think the thing I'll talk about is Fobia, and I can never say this right, dash St.Dinfna Hotel. Nailed it. So this is developed by Pulsatrix Studios. It's published by Maximum Games. It is out the day we're recording, which is Tuesday, June 28th. And this game, I had never heard of this game. I didn't even know of its existence. And then I got a press release from Thomas at Tinsley. And he was like, hey, I got a game. It's kind of like a mash of Resident Evil and Silent Hill. And I was like, say no more, Thomas. You've sold me. Like I said, right now, I just kind of want to try some like new things that I just haven't played before. So this game follows an amateur journalist, and his name is Roberto Lopez. And he is fresh out of college trying to find a really cool scoop. And, of course, someone gets in touch with him and is like, hey, I got a haunted hotel for you. You want to come check it out? And he's like, say no more. And I'm there. So that's a very, like, light summary of it. But essentially, yeah, so I'm maybe like 4 hours into this, and the PR email said expect like 7 to 9 hours for a total playthrough, but I still feel like I'm less than halfway through. Anyway, yeah, so you're at this hotel, and where the Resident Evil influence comes in is that this kind of feels like one big escape room, which is like one of my all-time favorite things of Resident Evil. I love the sense of exploration. When it comes to Resident Evil, I love the attention to detail and the levels. You know, everyone remembers my infamous toilet paper story when it came to Resident Evil 2 reveal, and Steimer always made fun of me for that. Oh my god, that was a vagina spider. I just fought that thing today, actually. I digress. So, and to a point, Fobia has that. Obviously, like, this is an indie studio, so it's not as, you know, polished, or as the details aren't as intricate as they are in Resident Evil, but it has very much the same feel. So you're walking around, you're collecting notes. Some of them are related to puzzles. Some of them are just there for the story and the narrative building. You're collecting puzzle pieces. You're examining them. You're combining them. You have inventory management. You have safe rooms. You have big storage chests that, you know, your inventory travels with. Wherever you find a storage chest, you can access it. There's no checkpoint system or anything like that. Like, if you save and you die, you go back to that save, and that can be very frustrating. The other part of this game that I find relatively frustrating is the gunplay. I think that the guns should have just been taken out of this game, because I think it hurts the game more than it helps it. It's just not good. It's very like point and, you know, it's like push this trigger and push that, and then you shoot, cool, and find some ammo, cool, ammo is scarce, cool, and the enemies are not very diverse, and so, you know, I was actually legitimately like freaked out when I was playing this for the first time, for the first maybe like hour or so. And then as soon as I got the pistol, I feel like a lot of that tenseness just kind of went away, because while there still is atmospheric tension building after you get the weapons, it just feels like it then kind of switches to rely more on, I said more on, haha, but it relies more on the enemies themselves, and it's just, you know, whatever. Just a little heads up. Like, not every game needs pew-pewing in it to be a really, you know, great atmospheric horror game. But, you know, for being what it is, I have to say I'm having a really good time. You know, I have had a few really frustrating moments, and that comes down to when the shooting is just bad and I die and I have to, like, retrace my steps. But it's scratching that itch of, you know, let's just look around, let's read some notes, let's collect some items, let's solve some puzzles. You know, there are the creaky, like, background noises, the sound design is good. There is a little girl that's gonna, like, pop out every once in a while, not necessarily to scare you, but just to kind of, like, freak you out a little bit. Only a handful of jump scares. I do know I'm in the hotel right now, so there's a lot of backtracking, which is kind of like normal for these sorts of games. It's kind of Metroidvania in that sense, if you want to think of it from that way. But, you know, yeah, like, it's fun. And you know, if you're looking just for something to kind of, like, I don't know, kind of get the panties tight and twisted and up your ass a little bit, maybe just think about it. There is actually a cool mechanic I haven't talked about, and it's the camera. And so it's not like Fatal Frame, so don't worry about that. But you do have a camera, and at one point you lift it to look through it, and it'll show you essentially, like, whatever room you're in, it'll show you an alternate dimension of that, and maybe that alternate dimension has a doorway you can go through, but the room in your present dimension does not. So you raise the camera up, and then while you have it up, you can walk through a door, you put the camera back down, and now you're suddenly back in a hotel. It might sound kind of like the Medium-y from Bloober Team, and it's sort of like the Medium in that sense, but, you know, you don't have the split screen, and it's not a mechanic that's, like, super heavily relied on. So anyway, yeah, so I appreciate the suggestion from Thomas. It's, trying to see right now on Steam, it's $26.99. It's 10% off. And yeah, I mean, I was looking at other people's reviews of it, and they're falling around like the 6 to 7s, sometimes like 7.5, 8-ish, which again doesn't mean it's a bad game. It just means, you know, it's kind of like most people consider it to be like an okay game, and I don't regret playing it so far. So yeah, Phobia. It's a perfect game to play if you're sleep deprived and you're already stressed out because you don't get enough time to yourself. What better game to play than this? Let me tell you, I was talking to myself. I had to have Jason in the room with me when I was playing it, especially those beginning hours, because I just couldn't handle it. I don't know why I was playing it. I'm like, why the fuck am I doing this to myself when
because
I literally
you love
have
those kinds of games.
I know, and I love the rush, Andrew, but my God, I also have Rune Factory 5, which is about farming and like banging people. I have Fire Emblem, yeah, Three Hopes, which is like a super awesome like chill game as well. But no, here I am playing this game about dead blood sack creatures chasing me. You know?
You know, you're a complex individual. It's okay.
I'm like an onion, right?
Exactly.
Thank you.
Shocking, Brianna, but I see that you've been playing Fortnite again.
I have. Yeah, they took the building away, and so it brought me back, and it's been awesome. I've been playing Fortnite. I'm not gonna lie, like almost, not almost. I've been playing it more than Apex. It's become my go-to game.
Snap! Move aside, Apex.
It has dethroned Apex for the moment. So I've been playing Fortnite, and it's currently in Chapter 3, Season 3, which is titled Vibin', which is, you know, very accurate. So they've brought some stuff back with the roller balls, or, you know, the ballers, as people would call them. There is an entire, like, roller coaster that you can ride around.
Indiana Jones?
There's the Indiana Jones content, allegedly.
Oh.
You can, you know, throw a boulder down a hill at somebody and hopefully
What do you
it hits
mean,
them.
allegedly?
It's very easy to avoid.
I mean, we just saw
I haven't seen him myself.
Oh, I was gonna say, we just saw him in the trailer.
Yeah, I haven't seen him yet, but there's Darth Vader skins now. There's lots of Obi-Wan content. Spider-Man folks are still hanging around. You know, all the hits of you know, the recent summer drops. But what's really cool about this season is there's this new mechanic where the map has been taken over by this reality zone, and it's called Reality Falls. And in Reality Falls, there are seed pods around a beautiful, beautiful tree. It's like bioluminescent tree. It's purple and blue and all of the colors that are the best. And then you actually take one of the seeds from this tree, and you can plant it anywhere on the map. And you can plant the seed, replant it somewhere else if you like, but regardless of what you do planting wise, it's always going to begin maturing over time. And I think about once a day, like every 20 hours or so, you have to go pluck the weeds from around your little sapling, and then it will bear fruit. And when it bears fruit, it goes through, you know, the different tiers, the quality tiers of weapons. So you'll find rare stuff and epic stuff, and then eventually legendary and mythic as the games progress. And it's a really nice way to automatically start the game with a decent weapons loadout and some shields. And there's a lot of other mechanics that I could get into, but I won't bore everybody with the details. Long story short, Zero Build Fortnite has really transformed the entire experience for me. I'm very much enjoying it. The time to kill feels a little bit more accessible because people aren't building the Taj Mahal the moment you set foot in front of them. And I win often, and I like winning. So it's been great.
Yeah,
and
winning's
it's really easy to drop in, drop out. Yeah. It's been awesome. I'm having a good time with it.
I'm glad to hear it. We've obviously played, you know, a bunch of games together when I've been able to carve out some time in the evening after the baby is asleep to jump online. And I think, as we've mentioned many times on this show, playing with friends when it comes to these multiplayer experiences is really key to the enjoyment that I think we have when we play. And I am with you that No-Build has really changed it for me and has really made me want to play more. But now I have to buy V-Bucks, and
There's so many
every time I play with
skins.
Joey Noelle, I have to like see all the cool skins that she has from playing like 20 seasons of Fortnite, and I'm like, I want all those emotes and skins, and she's like, well, you can't have them, and I'm like, but I want them. Makes me sad. But she did gift me the BTS dances, which I was very excited about.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know we probably talked about it. I don't remember that. I can't remember every Tom, whatever, Dick and Jerry, whatever the names are that goes in.
Tom, Dick, and Jerry.
Yeah. Tom and Jerry.
Harry.
Those guys.
It's
Harry.
Tom, Dick.
Harry, Dick.
Oh my
Bree,
goodness.
so you're playing this more than Apex. Like, what itch is Fortnite scratching that Apex isn't right now?
It's definitely scratching the cosmetic itch that Andrea is alluding to. When you see, you know, people in Fortnite, it's like a transformer is doing the BTS dance, and then all of a sudden, you know, like you're fighting them. It's very Ready Player One in that dissociative moment. But it's a lot of fun to, you know, show your own personality. You're like, there's some dances that you can do where like it's almost like a call and response, like other people will reply with their own version. There's some gestures and things you can do that you can do in tandem with somebody else if they decide to, join you, like a high five or a hug or even a dance routine, which is, of course, one of my favorites. But more than anything, it's just fun to have a new environment to run around and to learn. The map is always the same every game, but they do introduce some slight variations to what's happening in the map throughout the course of the season. So right now, for instance, Darth Vader comes down in his ship and he lands at different spots every day. And you can go choose to fight him if you want and try to take him out and then, take his blaster. And there's a lot of really cool, mini games that you can choose to play with yourself. There's, of course, challenges and quests that will take you to different areas of the map to complete different objectives, like talk to this NPC or, set up a beacon here or something like that. So there's lots of variety in it that I have been missing a little bit from Apex in Battle Royale mode. And there's a lot more space to explore. I feel like the map in Apex or the map rotations in Apex right now, I get picked off a lot. And, it's not fun to drop in a BR and then immediately get sniped. And then you just go back to the loading screen and you're like, well, that wasn't a pleasant experience. I didn't participate. I didn't even really get to compete. It's not as accessible for me right now. But Fortnite, as I said, I can land where my tree is, be guaranteed at least a few guns and full shields, and feel like I really have a fighting chance. And I feel that it's being presented that way for a lot of people who maybe haven't played before or who aren't as comfortable with the building. You at least can jump in and get a few shots on somebody and feel like you did something. So that's really what's hooking me right now.
That makes sense. It's just like it sounds just fun. Like there's shit to do. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, Epic has been supporting this game in a really impressive way for a long time. And while not every season is going to be as exciting as, the next one, I think that they are continuing to find ways to engage their community and to keep people coming back and to get new players in, like myself, to their ecosystem to buy shit. They're like, buy the shit. And I'm like, okay, it's cute. I'll buy it.
It works.
You got me. But it's it's fun. It's great. And speaking of fun, a game that I had a ton of fun with and haven't played in a while that you also have jumped back into, Fall Guys.
Yeah. Fall Guys, free for all, I think is what they're calling this official season 1. So it's really cool because Fall Guys, we played some of it over the course of the pandemic, and it's one of those games that you're going to want to be in a Discord group with a bunch of people and yelling and screaming at each other and, cheering people on as you fall out of the race and get eliminated, but you still want your friends to get to the next level or maybe even win. What's really exciting is that now they actually have up to 4-player teams where you can all go into a free-for-all, quote unquote. However, if one of your teammates is still moving forward and you aren't, you're automatically going to watch them and you'll, get some points and some progress if they actually continue forward and eventually win. They have all kinds of new rounds, all new courses, all new obstacles, and of course, all new skins. As we're saying, skins are a theme right now. So, it's been a lot of fun, and I am still waiting for private lobbies to be accessible for everyone. I think at the time when we played in a private lobby, which was maybe over a year ago at this point, they were only for certain users, and I'm not sure what the plan is moving forward to roll those out, if they're going to be a paid feature or if there's a way you can earn it or, something else in their roadmap. But what's really intriguing is getting a group of friends together and basically instead of going to a bouncy castle or, a laser tag ring, you all jump into Fall Guys and hang out in the chat room and, talk shit to each other. So I'm looking forward to seeing more from this. It's always been fun from the moment we started playing it, but I'm glad that it's now officially out and free and everybody can crossplay. Crossplay has been really easy. But actually finding a game, takes a little bit of time depending on what time of day you're playing. And yeah, again, still waiting for private lobbies to open up because that's where the real fun starts.
Yeah. Fall Guys, lots of fun. You fall down over and over again.
New theme song right there. Andrea just wrote it. Ree will do the dance for it.
You're welcome. Ship
We're
it.
set.
Pay me the royalties and we're good to go. That's all I want. Who do I have to negotiate over there at that team? Come on, let's go. Just kidding. My Fall Guys songs don't hold a candle to one Christine Steimer's songs.
The no zone.
The no space, the no zone.
No space, yeah.
Oh my gosh. Sometimes I watch those clips back of her just singing about running around as a furry. Let me live my furry life. Oh, those were fun times. We'll stream again
yeah.
someday. Someday it will happen. Well, thanks for the update on some of these multiplayer games that you've been into. Certainly something that I've been missing in my life is getting online with people. And, I've talked to a couple friends recently like, oh, like, how's it been going? What games are you playing? And I'm like, LOL, games. I remember when I used to play games. That's fun. But I did just finally watch the Uncharted movie.
Oh, okay.
It was fine.
It wasn't bad.
It wasn't bad. That's correct. But it
Listen,
wasn't
that's a fucking win.
great. So, it was fine. I do like how they very clearly lined up some shots to make it feel like you were looking at, shots from the video games, which I thought was great. And there's a really fun cameo, which I won't spoil if someone, hasn't seen it yet. And while I appreciate that they kind of like left the door open for them to make more, I'm okay if they don't. I just think Tom Holland is really lovely in certain roles, and Nathan Drake is just not that role.
No? Do you think it would have been better if they had went with an older Drake?
100%, yes. Yeah. Why they didn't just fulfill everyone's dream and cast Nathan Fillion, I don't know. I know that he's on the older side, and maybe they're like, oh, he's too old. They'd be after the current video game canon. I'm like, so?
No, so?
Also, like, a cinema magic. Make him look young. You could do it. I believe in you.
Still haven't seen it.
Oh, you haven't?
It off. No, we were going to watch it last weekend, but then a little title called Beavis and Butthead came out. A new Beavis and Butthead movie came
Ooh, I
out.
forgot about that.
I think it's Do the Universe. Wow. Is that what it's called? What's up with these fucking names lately? I can't remember shit. Do the Universe. Yes, Beavis and Butthead Do the Universe came out. So that's what we watched instead. But Jason's been wanting to watch Uncharted. And I was like, but Beavis and Butthead.
I think you will enjoy it. It's a nice, fun popcorn flick, very much in the same vein that the Tomb Raider movie was. I was like, this is a perfectly fun, like, action movie, and thought it was good. It wasn't like Assassin's Creed, which was, like, actively bad.
Oh, God. Yeah, that was a bad one.
And that bummed me out as a big Assassin's Creed fan. I was like, come on, this is the one. And then I was like, no, why does it suck so bad? Yeah. But we also watched Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness finally. Because that's finally out on streaming. And boy, it feels like you need to be on substances to watch that movie.
Wait, why?
Because it's weird and wild and goes places. And when they say the Multiverse of Madness, like, there's so much happening. Like, lots of transitioning between different universes. And it's, like, really hard to keep up.
Oh. Like
also, they just went full like action horror.
Oh, yes.
In a way that I wasn't expecting from a Marvel movie. And I know people mentioned that on Twitter. Everyone's like, oh, Sam Raimi being Sam Raimi. And I was like, but what does that mean? And I think it's just been too long since I've seen one of his films. And then when I watched it, it was like, ooh, I get it. Just, went dark. Went very dark. Also, if you had any love left for Wanda, just throw it out the window.
Oh,
goodbye.
But she's a mother.
No, not an excuse. As a mother myself, nope. I'm still mad at her for what she did in WandaVision, though. So maybe I'm one of the only ones.
Yeah,
no
that
excuses,
bitch.
Wanda. You're a bad person. Just accept what you've done.
I don't know what she did. I'm just being a good friend and supporting my friend.
Thank you. And that's all I'm going to say about that, unless we're going to do a spoiler cast, which we could do. We haven't done a proper spoiler cast.
Do you know what my favorite spoiler cast was? The Tiger King one.
Tiger King! There's a second one.
Oh my God. I don't want to watch, because I didn't watch it. I knew nothing about it, and you three spoiled. That was so much fun. That just got weirder and weirder as y'all continue talking, and I loved it.
You've seen Tiger King.
Oh yeah, it was unforgettable. I didn't know there was another one though.
Yeah.
I want to see it.
It was really contentious because Carol apparently tried to sue Netflix because in their original agreement there was only to be like one season apparently, and they were like, well, actually we're gonna make more, and she was like, this was not part of the deal and blah blah blah. I don't know where the lawsuit ended up, but I also haven't watched like the new stuff. But we essentially recounted what the Tiger King season was about to Brittany, who had never watched it, and she was like, "This is not real. This is completely fake. You're making this up." And we're like, "No, this happened. Yeah. It's a documentary with the biggest air quotes of all time."
I'm surprised she sued over like a second season and not over them insinuating that she fed her husband to tigers.
Well, they did that the first season, so like that's not new. I'm sure it was just her legal team being like, "Give us more money. You didn't pay us enough."
Yeah.
But
man.
Yeah, man.
Cool cats and kittens.
Yeah, cool cats and kittens. Hey, all you cool cats and kittens. I forgot about that.
Carol.
Oh, I feel like I need to get like some kind of Carol cat t-shirt, something. I haven't bought a new cat, like dumb cat shirt in a while. Brittany, remember when you got me that Cat NATO shirt?
I do. And Harry Potter.
Harry Potter, yes.
Potter.
Paws.
Yeah,
like
Cat NATO is the best.
And it was it's literally like a cat that looks like Hermione, and it's terrifying. It's like a cat that has like Hermione's hair. It's like, what is this? What's happening? Stuff the nightmares are made out of. It's funny also. I just want to mention to everybody, since we're at the end of the show, in the show notes, under what did Andrea play this week, I literally wrote, I watched a 6-year-old play a lot of Minecraft.
Listen, you are furthering your education on Minecraft, arguably one of the most influential franchises in our industry. So it totally counts. What'd you learn?
Okay.
I learned that apparently 6-year-olds are very good at placing TNT and blowing things up in the world, because that's what he did a lot of. It's just like in a TNT world. But I also learned that you can type in virtually anything into a search bar and find worlds specific to what you're looking for. Like for example, was looking for a world with no pickaxes and found 2 worlds with no pickaxes. And I was like, okay, why do you want to go to a world with no pickaxes? And he was like, because I don't want there to be pickaxes. And I was like,
fair enough.
I guess that's the reason. Also, I forgot that kids that age ask a bazillion questions about everything.
Oh, yay.
And remind me to tell you at some point the story about him asking what happens when you pee in the pool.
Oh, my God.
Oh, yeah. That'll be a good story.
Because we have a swimming pool in our backyard, and I was like, why? Did you pee in the pool? And he was like, no. And I was like, you didn't? And then his mom, of course, trying to mess with him a little bit, was like, well, we're all going to turn to acid if you pee in the pool. And he immediately got out of the pool.
Oh, my God.
And I was like, oh, so you peed in the pool, didn't you? He was like, no. And I was like, oh, so why'd you get out of the pool then?
Yo, shout out to Mom. That's funny.
That's a good one.
And then, of course, he gets out and goes inside to go take a shower. And he's like, am I going to be okay? And his mom is like, yes, honey, you're going to be fine. And I looked at his dad, and I was like, so are you going to tell him that we've all peed in a pool at one point in our lives? And he was like, I will someday.
Oh, that's good.
Aw, to be a kid.
Oh.
To be a kid again. Also, don't pee in pools, everybody. Just,
Just don't.
It messes with the chemicals. While you're not going to turn to acid, it's not good for your skin. Anywho, that's the end of the show, everybody. I hope you enjoyed my anecdote about kids asking questions about peeing in the pool.
I think we're 2 for 2 now for ending the show on the topic of bodily fluids.
Yeah.
Ooh, let's keep it going.
Yeah, let's keep it going, Ree. I'm all for it. Let's see where we can go next.
I feel like we're just going to talk about sweat of some kind or saliva.
Yeah?
Oh, I was thinking other things.
Yeah, me too.
We'll
but,
it's,
how about we pin that for next week and just let everybody use their imagination? Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next week. Bye.